GoPro going on the side here, and then, like I said, you can just look at me. I'm going to step to the side of the camera, so let me just hear go ahead, just give your position with the Planetary Society.
Yeah. So is that sound bothering you?
Okay, we'll get a mic here. Check.
Checking, check. Checking, test. CBS. Houston, Texas. The Lone Star State. Nothing between you and the North Pole but a barbed wire fence, but even that's blown down. You got a hat, but do you have any cattle? What other Texas things? Yes.
That dog won't hunt.
Yeah. All right.
All right. So we'll start with your reason you're here in Houston.
Go ahead.
Connected with your role in the Planetary
Yeah.
Society. Go ahead, please.
Hi, I'm Bill Nye, CEO of the Planetary Society. The Planetary Society is the world's largest space organization not connected with a space agency, not connected with the government. 50,000 members around the world who like space, participate in space. So we're here at SpaceCom, which is the commercial space flight, people involved in the commercialization of space. Everybody relies on space. We have weather reports, we have communications like this one, and we have cell phones, mobile phones, global positioning, all depend on space assets, as we say. So at SpaceCom, you see a lot of companies that are involved in space exploration. All the money that's spent in space is really spent on Earth. So this year, the Planetary Society flew our solar sail spacecraft. This is a spacecraft pushed through space by sunlight. It's surprising, but we proved that it works. We're the first time we put a solar sail in Earth orbit. And it was funded by citizens around the world. We spent, over the last 10 years, we spent about $7 million to do this. It's estimated that if we were to do that through a conventional space agency, like NASA or ESA, European Space Agency, it would cost about 20 times that much money. 140, 150 million. So we're very proud of it, and so I'll do a presentation today about how we did this.
And so you're obviously, most people know you through your program as the science guy, but you've obviously come, your legacy is expanded out way beyond that. How big is of all you're working on right now, how much of it is devoted to space, would you say?
Oh, about half. I spend about half my time on space exploration, which is a lot for me. And so there's two things that I want. First of all, I want the Earth to not get hit with an asteroid. That very low probability event, very high consequence event. And keep in mind, I was out in the workforce paying taxes when the asteroid impact turned out to be the best idea anybody had for what happened to the ancient dinosaurs. And the other thing, I want to find life or evidence of life on another world while I'm still alive. So we at the Planetary Society, along with exploring planets in general, writ large, these other two objectives are very important to us.
So obviously your organization had a very tangible effect on the solar sail. As far as these other goals, like the exploration of life, how much is that kind of, let's say, advocacy, and how much of it is actually actually having a direct impact, or being more connected to the actual science that could be prove that for you?
Well, we have so two things. First of all, I came just last 2 days ago. I was at the U.S. Congress. We had a breakfast for what we call the Planetary Science Caucus. So this is where the official caucuses are established in the House of Representatives. With all the other stuff that's going on, congressmen and staffers came to our breakfast, and we had a presentation about the search for life and what's required. And so we are advocates. Lobbying is a legal term. We are not lobbyists, we are advocates. We go to Congress to present the case for investing in planetary science missions. So 4 things you need to look for life, or to have life, we think. Water still seems to be the best solvent that anybody can come up with. Carbon, then energy, source of light or heat, and then time. You need time. So Mars has been there 4.5 billion years. Europa, this moon of Jupiter with twice as much ocean water as Earth, it's been there for 4.5 billion years. Maybe there's some Europanians swimming around under the ice, and so we advocate for those missions. And then we do projects like LightSail, where we're flying space mission. We have this thing called Planet Vac, which will be used for sampling rocks on other worlds, using a very efficient scheme with the helium that's in fuel tanks on spacecraft. And so we are also going to have this coming over the next 5 years, we're going to have essentially a call for papers for our next big project. So it's or a couple projects. So it's an exciting time at the Planetary Society. Planetary Society was started by Carl Sagan. I took 1 class from Carl Sagan. Now I'm the CEO.
Obviously not a direct link, though.
Oh yeah, well, kind of.
I mean, for you, obviously the journey to where you became the CEO is taking you, there's been a lot of things you've done in your career.
Oh yes. But I took 1 class from Carl Sagan. He started the Planetary Society in 1980. I'm a charter member. Then I got on the board because his kids watched the Science Guy show. Then I left the room at a board meeting. They took a vote, and now I'm in charge.
Is this like your dream job?
It's a pretty good job. Yeah, it's pretty cool. But what'll make it, like this year, is when the dreams are realized. When we had this idea for a solar sail going back over 40 years, almost 50 years, and we finally flew it. It's pretty cool. I have this dream or hope to find life on another world. When we actually find it, then that will be pretty cool. We won the Time magazine, one of the best 100 inventions of the year, the aerospace category, announced this morning. So it's very, very exciting.
Obviously, your real public persona was developed with the PBS show, and obviously a lot of, the woman who's going to be writing this story, her sons are STEM majors now in college, and they watched your show. You've had some impact. What is that kind of? I mean, obviously people see you on the street, they recognize you, they connect you with that show. How does that affect you?
Well, it's amazing. I mean, the goal of the show, if you look at the first document that we gave to everybody who came to work on the show, there were a lot of interns, a lot of employees, a lot of freelance people. The objective, change the world. So we'll see if we have efficient transportation systems, better stewardship of the environment, and better agriculture, and a higher quality of life for everyone in the world. We'll see if that happens. And if it does, well, the show will take full credit. No, I'm kidding. So that was the goal. So every time somebody comes up to me and tells me that he or she became an engineer or a physician or what have you because they watch the show, it's pretty gratifying. It's amazing. I try to get the impact or the effect of the show. It's just amazing. It's amazing.
Obviously, you've become known for your advocacy on the effects of climate change and policy towards that. When you, say 20 years ago, would you imagine that basically science would become politicized and become kind of a partisan football of people saying, yes, that's true, no, that's not, you've got an agenda, it's because you have a leftist agenda or something that you take a position you do?
Well, everybody, we are in Houston. How much do I love you all? More than life itself. I used to work in the oil patch, people. I used to work in Refugio and Victoria. I used to work for a company in Seattle that had an piece of oil field equipment. I used to program valves on this big pressure vessel, okay? But climate change is a result of humans burning ancient fossil fuels, which we dig up and burn. We got to stop doing that. You can hate me, you can hate everything about me, you can hate Al Gore, but we still have to stop doing that. And this is where young people they're gonna change things. People my age are going to not be the majority of voters anymore, and things will change. And for Texans, I say all the time, right now, Texas is getting 10% of its electricity from the wind. I've been to Stanton, Texas, where the wind blowing like crazy, wind turbines, oil pumps, and cattle are all on the same patch of land. So we can do this, people. Let's get started. Now, as far as becoming politicized, it's because of the fossil fuel industry. The fossil fuel industry has worked very hard for decades to introduce the idea that scientific uncertainty, plus or minus 2% about how much sea level is going to rise or whatever the heck, or why storms are more stable because of gravity waves, Rossby waves in the atmosphere, okay, that plus or minus 2% about that stuff is the same as plus or minus 100%. Like completely wrong. No, that's just wrong, you guys. So we're going to have to stop. And I know we're in Texas, and I know it's going to be big changes, but we got to stop burning fossil fuels. And that it's become politicized, I think that we're just living through an extraordinary time. The Constitution was written with this idea that we don't want to disenfranchise rural voters. Okay, that was a good idea, but we've outlived it. We don't want to have, I don't think we want any more national elections where the person who gets the majority of votes doesn't win. It's weird. And I have a dear friend of mine lives in Wyoming. I have cousins, very close family members who live in Missouri. There are more people in New York City than there are, by a factor of 60. There's 60 times as many people in California as there are in Wyoming. They can't all be bad people. You guys, they're not all bad people. Sure, some of us are terrible people, but they can't all be bad. So what's built into the U.S. Constitution is change. This is the key idea. In Ireland, they've revised their constitution over 30 times in less time than the U.S. has been a government. So having revisions to the government is key. And so changes are coming. Things are going to get done. The sooner the better, for the sake of climate change. Did I go on too long? No. Did I end my career?
I want to get one more lighter note. When you started your show, were you thinking, it's okay to be a science nerd? Were you kind of trying to communicate that, or was this, because the idea
it's definitely okay to be a science nerd, yes.
But now it's kind of like, it's not like the movie The Revenge of the Nerds. That kind of started maybe a little bit of an idea that's now kind of like, hey, the nerds are the ones who are making the big stuff, the big money, the big policy.
Well, this is what everybody admires right now, is the entrepreneurs. I was here a couple weeks ago for the Texas Entrepreneurial Awards. It was in Dallas. But those guys are here, the winners, the people who are. Texas has all kinds of innovation going on in technology, and these are computer software developers and engineers. And who's everybody's favorite guy, to love him or hate him, is Elon Musk, who's a physics major. Of the top 500 Forbes 500 companies, most of them are run by engineers. So it's good. Yes, I celebrate nerdism. And I was growing up with the space program, and this was just an exciting time where you could reach farther and deeper into space and learn more about the cosmos and our place within it. And that's why SpaceCom is such a cool thing. It's part of that, where instead of just the government investing in space exploration for the sake of winning the Cold War, which was good, now everybody's involved just for the betterment of everybody. Communications, weather, positioning, navigation, these are all a result of space assets. And the discoveries we make about the cosmos, we found out that we don't know what 95% of the universe is, dark energy and dark matter. We're going to figure that out, and it will be profound. In the same way, my grandparents didn't know anything or hardly anything about relativity, but now relativity is used for your phone to work. So it's going to be, it's exciting. It's an exciting time for nerds.
Great. Okay. Now you have a schedule to keep?